on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Cheetah.
And the cheese.
Tonight, we got a little bit different episode for you guys. We are going to be overlooking the playoff scenarios, and that brings us to tonight's matchup. Browns versus Ravens. It's a big deal. AFC North. Ravens are right there in the hunt. Browns could seal them off, with this win and get into the playoffs for the first time in I don't know how long. But me and Cheese ended up going up one over the weekend. One more, so that puts him up two. A lot of upsets this week. It's a pretty exciting week of football. A lot of good things happening, a lot of bad things happening. So we don't really want to recap it today. We want you guys to tune back in on Thursday so you can fill out the questionnaire tomorrow. So make sure you catch the recap. I want to get into this playoff scenario right here at the towards the end after we do this game. This game's gonna be big. Cheese. Go ahead and take it away. Tell us what that defense brings to the table.
Man, look, this one is extremely big, like you said, especially for the ending of these guys' season and getting them locked in a nice playoff position. Ravens going to Cleveland, and it kind of scares me a little bit for the Cleveland Browns, man. They're playing good ball. They're 9-3. I'm going to give them the respect now. Shout out to the Browns. Y'all are doing y'all's thing. I'm still not 100% convinced, though. Baltimore hasn't been playing very well either, though. I'm not convinced on them as well. But this is a big game. It's a must-win, definitely, for the Ravens. A must-win for sure. And I just think these guys already met up once, and that didn't work out too well for the Browns. So I say the Ravens find a way to get it done. I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one. Lamar Jackson has an outstanding game. I think Baker Mayfield has an above-average, mediocre game. I just don't think he goes out there and excels like crazy in this, kind of a caliber game. It's a night game. The defense for Baltimore.
It's in Cleveland. They've been playing well at home.
I know it's in Cleveland too. I know. This is a tough one for me. I mean, right now, you literally could get away with picking either one of these teams because I think right now, either one of these teams could beat each other. It's just who do I really think will come away with it on one tonight. And I'm going Ravens. I think the defense, they're not extremely awesome and, doing great things on the Baltimore side, but I think they know how to play the Browns and what they need to do. And Browns, from the last game, is going to have to adjust a lot more, in which we have seen them adjust over the season. That's put them at a 9-3 spot. But I'm going Baltimore. They flustered Baker a little bit and find a way to stop the run and keep Lamar Jackson on the field. That's what the Ravens have to do, and I think they find a way to get that done. And Lamar kind of gets it done himself, man. So that's my insight on
it. Yeah, I think that you hit a lot of good points. Cleveland still they're just running the ball. That's what their offense is based off. Then Baker can go and do that play action. They shocked everybody when they kicked the crap out of Tennessee, and Tennessee was shocked too, but they still ended up letting Tennessee come back and make that a ball game after going up 42-7. So I'm not convinced that they can close out things. I think Baker will make mistakes. He's not one of those elite quarterbacks, but he does well whenever he's asked to throw the ball over the middle. He's not afraid to take shots, especially when the running game's working like it is, getting those linebackers up. You start to get the second, third level. If he's accurate, it's going to be a bad day for the Baltimore Ravens. But if he has 2 or 3 errant throws and that Humphreys corner for Baltimore, man, he's been locking things down. He's been locking everybody down. And Jarvis Landry is one of the only guys that really scares me on that Cleveland Browns offense beside that tight end. Both tight ends, Austin Hooper, he's a blocker first, but man, he gets open. And then that young guy and Harrison Bryant, I really like that kid too. He's about 6'6". He filled in whenever Hooper wasn't there anymore. So I'm liking what Cleveland's doing, and I like the play calling. I didn't even look that up, the offense coordinator for Cleveland, but he is doing a phenomenal job for them. I think preseason wasn't available. COVID, all these factors factoring into that first game of the season where the Browns got blew out. They are hot. They're pissed off. My dad likes them. He put 40 on them. And they're underdogs. They're heavy underdogs. So let's go Brownies. I'm going Browns. I might go behind you 3 games this week, but I'm going to make it interesting, dude. I like Cleveland at home. So.
And another thing, too, to add on what you're saying, though, because that's everything you said is correct, too. I mean, people sleep on this offensive line for Cleveland. this is probably one of the best, if not surpassing some weeks, the Colts offensive line to be an outstanding offensive line, man. Them running backs are good for sure, but they have a really good offensive line. That helps Baker Mayfield enough. You put Baker Mayfield and a lot of, with a lot of other quarterbacks, but you put Baker Mayfield behind a lot of these offensive lines. Let's look at Houston's. I mean, Baker Mayfield, he's not even a factor anymore. So that offensive line needs to get some respect for the Browns because they're doing a phenomenal job for sure.
Yeah. So you're going the Ravens. I'm going Browns. We're going to make it interesting. Make sure you let us know who you got. Okay, the next thing I want to get into is since Week 14 is over, we have these playoff scenarios. Okay, so if you see on the screen right now, the playoffs they're looking pretty good right now for a lot of teams, aka the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Packers, the Saints. They're most likely going to end up at the end of these next 3 weeks getting these spots. So first round bye right now, that's what they're saying, is the Chiefs at 12-1. The next 2 teams that are behind are 2 games for the Bills, 1 game for the Steelers, and the Steelers just got embarrassed last Sunday or this Sunday night. Maybe they're not a real team, but who knows? So I think it's just interesting because you got the Dolphins at the lowest seed in the AFC at 8-5, and you got the Baltimore Ravens at 7-5. So the playoff implications for tonight's game is huge going in because Baltimore could be that 7th seed. That would put 3 teams in the AFC North in the playoffs. The Browns, the Steelers, and the Ravens, which would be very interesting to see them beat up on each other again. But yeah, then we go to the NFC. The Packers, they're tied with the Saints, but they hold that one outright. It looks like the Rams are 9-4, sneaky 9-4, and then the Washington football team is holding that NFC East down. They're going to get a home game, boys. I think that they're closing out the year. We got three teams that they play left, and I think it's one of the easier schedules.
So right now, if we want to talk about Washington, they got to play the Seahawks next in Washington.
Okay, maybe not.
Right? They play your Panthers next after that in Washington. And then they finish the year out going to the Eagles, where Jalen Hurts might start getting a little streak going to him. So, I don't know. These are 3 that I think, honestly, potentially especially y'all get McCaffrey back. These are 3 that Washington could lose. So I don't know. I don't know.
So I scrolled down a little bit more for the viewers right here. The CBS website actually has all these listings for you guys. If we look closely, there's 2. Las Vegas almost screwed their chances losing to the Colts, being 7-6. Now they're definitely 2 games behind because if Indianapolis does lose out, right? They're the 6th seed at 9-4. So there's 2, 3 9-win teams at 4, 5, and 6, and only 1 more playoff spot left available this year. Since they got that extra team, and Miami is holding it at 8-5. So this Baltimore game either puts them right there, smack dab at number 7 with Miami, or they're going to stay right outside the playoffs looking in, and then the Cleveland Browns solidify their spot into the playoffs. Dude, I can't wait. I'm excited for this game. I like to see what it is.
Now you're playing. I mean, they play for something each week, obviously, but now games like this, you're playing for something. Your season's not over.
Who does Cleveland play the next 3 games?
Who
does Cleveland play? Isn't it Pittsburgh again, or did they already lose to Pittsburgh twice?
I got you right here.
I think they
so Cleveland plays. Cleveland is at the Giants next after tonight's game. All right, they're at the Giants. They're at the Jets, so they're playing in the same stadium back to back, and then Steelers come back to them for the last game.
Yeah, and that Steelers game could potentially be for the number 2 spot in playoffs, dude. That would be crazy to see the Browns go over top of the Pittsburgh Steelers as they're struggling here of late. Oh my God, the AFC, that's shaping out to be the division right there.
There's some good football in the AFC right now, boy.
Yeah, and as we scroll down to the NFC, or actually we click on the NFC, okay, you can see this scenario right here. We got Arizona, who got a big win over the Giants this past weekend. They are at that 7th spot right there, 7-6. The next 2 teams are Minnesota and Chicago, so the NFC North. right there on the heels of the Arizona Cardinals, and they've got a tough matchup versus the Eagles. It looks like they're playing the Eagles next in Arizona.
Yep, Eagles. So the next three for the Cardinals, and then we'll go to the other two teams real quick. Eagles are at Cardinals next game. 49ers are at Cardinals, and then the Cardinals are then again at the Rams. So I don't think they have the easiest 3-game streak, out of anybody else.
Yeah. Which would open the door for Minnesota or Chicago. So who's Minnesota playing? Did they play Green Bay again? I think y'all already played them twice.
Chicago, we have not played Chicago twice. I know that for a fact.
Chicago's out of the playoffs, boys and girls. We don't have to worry about Chicago going into the playoffs based on Green Bay probably demolishing them 2 of the last 3 games. Minnesota.
Don't fact check me. Let me see. Okay, so you said them and the Vikings, right? So this is going to be a good one. Yeah, I was right. Okay, so next game for the Bears is Bears versus Vikings. So
nice.
Winner of that one should shut the other one up. But then they also go to Jacksonville, and then Green Bay is in Chicago on that one. But let's look for the Vikings, see if they got a little bit easier road. Let me see. All right, so Minnesota, like I said, next game for them would obviously be playing the Bears, vice versa. Then they're playing the Saints, and then they're ending with the Lions. Ooh. So that Saints game, boy. They got honestly 3 games, man, because that last Lion game is still a divisional game, and Kirk Cousins with pressure is never a good thing. So I don't know, dude. It's crazy.
Guess what? After looking at these standings, Tom Brady sneaking his way back into the playoffs for Tampa Bay, 8-5. Next week they're at Atlanta. They might be 9-5. And I think they've kind of figured it out a little bit. And this is what happens. They got a good running game. Tom Brady just does his thing, and their defense shuts people down. Interesting.
All right, so you said they're at Atlanta. I'm curious of their next 2. All right, they're at Atlanta, then they're at Detroit. Not really worried about that. And then Atlanta comes back to them. They play Atlanta twice in a 3-game stretch.
Yeah, and Tom ain't going to lose twice for sure. So Tampa Bay's most likely in the playoffs right there. The next couple teams that might have a chance, right? You got the New York Giants coming in at 5-8. They fell back a game versus Washington, and that could put them at the number 4 seed right here. We don't even need to worry about wild card for the NFC East. Just who wins that division, and they're in. That's interesting. And then you see Carolina down here right at the bottom.
Yeah, Giants
not
got
even
it
close,
tough, dude, because they're playing the Browns, Ravens, and then the Cowboys. So
yeah. I'm interested to see what this AFC does, because I think there's a lot of good football over there in the AFC, and I think Buffalo might be just enough to match up with every single team. After what they did to Pittsburgh, for sure.
Oh, they definitely match up with anything. They match up. I don't know if they're winning or not, but they dang sure match up, no doubt about it.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a wild ride. Okay, I just wanted to throw this out there so maybe we can talk a little bit to you guys so you kind of know what's going on as well. MVP of the year, Cheese, who you got?
After Patrick Mahomes throwing 3 interceptions, it ain't a question right now going into Week 15.
True. I like Aaron Rodgers over Patty Mahomes just because Miami's defense did pick him off 3 times. I'm a firm believer now in your cheese heads. Cheese?
Yeah, man. And if it was vice versa, I would say the same thing. But I'm just lucky enough that I'm a Packers fan. But Aaron Rodgers is playing freaking lights out, man. And then after that, he pretty much he helped him push up after that one. So.
Yeah. Well, make sure you guys tune in on Thursday for another episode. And we can't wait to bring you guys playoff football. Cheetah and cheese.
Cheetah and cheese, baby.